First time for everything, Kate.
I may have to mute a lot because my dog just won't stop barking. So yeah,
Oh,
sorry about
that's
that.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm just gonna admit people and turn it over to you, Kate, so you can go with whatever the seat of your pants feels like.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool. Yay.
I'm just the gatekeeper.
Thanks, Kathy. Okay. We'll give it like one more minute. Is Antoinetta on here? See, I don't know how Nikki does these classes and can do this and not see people's faces. That would be weird. That's kind of weird for me. But anyway, I'm just going to start telling my story of how this all came to be and why I'm doing runes as my favorite divination tool, because essentially that's what it is. It is a divination tool. That's how I use it. I started using them, I don't know, probably about 6 months out. That's a really cool story that I'll tell too. But so my history, I'm 70% Viking, Norwegian. So it's a very deep connection I have with these things, because I know for a fact that at some point in my lineage I had Vikings pilgriming and casting runes, and hopefully they were the nice Vikings, but you never know. Part of me says that that's not true at all, but whatever. So anyway, I'm 70% Viking, Norwegian. I say Viking because I think it sounds cooler than Norwegian, but I am from the area that the Vikings lived, on the southeastern side of Norway. I went there when I was 19 years old. My grandfather and my grandma, I don't know if you can hear my husband yelling at my dogs right now. So my grandfather and my grandma obviously both have religion there, and we went to go visit them, and we did all these super freaking cool tours, and we stayed at the beginning of the fjords in Norway. And that is fairy tale land, and I absolutely fell in love. It is so just ridden with literal fairy tales of dwarfs and trolls and fairies, and there's like evidence of all the shit everywhere. I mean, that's what it looks like because it's so magical and beautiful. So I became obsessed at 19 with Norway and my heritage there, and just kind of started collecting different things throughout my life, like things like, material things, but also knowledge from like my elders in my family, especially my grandpa. So yeah, and then I kind of passed that obsession down to my son Anthony, and I forgot about it for a while because I wasn't in a healing journey then, and got really caught up with earth stuff at that point in my life, and I was doing a lot of earth stuff, so I wasn't very much paying attention to what he was saying to me, and the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, I kicked myself in the ass for not paying more attention, but he was just like reaffirming where I was supposed to be going, and I wasn't going there. He was getting super into the Viking stuff. The kid had like so much Viking stuff. Like when I was going through his room after he had passed, I'm like, how did I miss this? What was I doing? I was upstairs watching Jersey Shore, trying to shut my brain off because I have so many kids to deal with. But anyway, he was in it. He was doing all the stuff. He was looking into more of the spiritual beliefs that the North's people had than I had ever done, which I think is rad. And then that show came out, the Viking show, and he got super obsessed with that show and watched it multiple times, and again kicked myself. I wish I would have watched it with him, but I didn't end up watching that until after he had passed, because I figured out where, obviously it all just came to after he had passed, like, I missed this shit. So how I got my first set of runes. So I was going through his stuff. I found all the stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, I forgot. I love this shit. And just started reading some of his stuff, his books. I watched the show. I just got more into it. And, at the same time, I was more focused on my journey, my healing journey. And without even knowing that I was this was before pre-Nikki, we'll call this pre-Nikki period. Um, Before I knew that I was looking to talk to him, the runes found me. I was camping with my parents in Sherwood Forest, which sounds like a magical place. It is beautiful. It's in Tennessee. It's a national park. If you ever go there, it's stunning. They have these ghost mushrooms actually there. It's the only place in the United States they grow. If you're a mushroom person, it's a cool place to go. But anyway, so yeah, so we're walking through the forest, and these two fucking hippie ladies have like their table set up, and they have a sign on the table that says they need beer money for tonight. And I'm like, well, I gotta help them out. So my daughter found this really cool skull that was like carved out of bone. I never asked what kind of bone, but it's a skull that has flowers carved into it. It's beautiful, but I was like, all right, sis, that's yeah, totally. And then I was like, oh, what's these? And it was in this like, special little bag. And I pulled one out and I was like, oh, these are really pretty crystals. And I was like, oh, look, they all have, oh, can I have these? And I really didn't even know much, but I knew that I wanted them. And yeah, so I got them from like a crazy hippie lady. And literally we saw her later that night. She had gone and bought 2 joints and a 6-pack. So I did my duty. It was a great time. So yeah, that was my first set of rooms. So like I said, they called to me. I did not go looking for them, but then once I found them, it all obviously made a whole lot of sense. And here we are. So that was like 2.5 years ago that this happened. So pre-Nikki, it was right after Anthony passed. So yeah, it was like boom, boom, rooms found me. So then, once I met Nikki, and all of it just obviously it's just made more and more sense, obviously. So here we are now. Let's see. I have note cards. I have never taught a class online. I said that before, but I have note cards. So in all of my seeking, because that's what I call it, Nikki always says, don't go down the rabbit hole. Well, when you're a seeker, you go down the rabbit hole. So I went down the rabbit hole and I learned lots of cool shit about paganism, which, everybody says paganism is witchy shit. Okay, cool. If we're in like the medieval times and Christianity's taking over and, it's the dark ages and everyone's killing each other because we don't think the same, you can call it paganism, but it is based on love and light. So I love it because it does give me a lot of light, and it does, I am pretty comfortable with my Norse mythology and their belief systems. And I am totally, I bought the ticket that said Odin's in charge of this and he controls the runes. So I was like, you kind of have to take both. You don't have to, but that's the path that I chose. I'm not saying that I follow that. I obviously have Buddha throughout my house too, and there's a Bible verse on my son's picture. So I am what Nikki calls omnism. It's all inclusive. So there we go. So I learned a lot about different things, and one thing that really called to me was the goddess Freya. She is the goddess of love, fertility, and battle. And the reason that she called to me is because at some point in my life, my nickname was a Valkyrie. And then if you know anything about Norse mythology, Valkyries were things that flew around in the sky and took warriors to Valhalla, and Valhalla is where warriors want to die. And multiple times, like Anthony has talked to me about Valhalla since he crossed the veil. And I don't know, it's just something that I was like, wow, this is really badass. I don't know if I was her, probably not. That would be that, you know, I'm not that cool, but I probably was a Valkyrie at some point in my life, which is why it sticks so much. I'm getting so hot. The other goddess that I really dug into was Frigg, and she is the goddess of marriage, clairvoyance, and motherhood. And so now when I work with the runes, I do like to use my feminine powers because I think it correlates with the runes, and I think that's where a lot of my lineage came from. My grandmother's la 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 forever. So yeah, that's why I work with them. I actually have Frigg here. She's cute. So yeah, she's watching out. So let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Well, I could talk about a lot of the history with the gods and goddesses and how it kind of disappeared with Christianity when Christianity came through and kind of said, if you don't believe in God, you know, like they know God, then you're a pagan and you have to go away. So a lot of the history of the runes and their like overall meaning died because it was buried. There are some parts of Scandinavia, that's Sweden, for example, where it stayed, and they were used like underground, which even, you know, the whole witchy thing, the whole paganism thing, it just, you know, it just, society just keeps pushing it down and down and down. And I do think it's at a period now where more people are becoming interested in what worked for thousands and thousands of years, because Christianity is kind of new in the whole spectrum of people here. And you know, obviously I'm drawn to the Norse mythology, but there's hundreds and different, whatever you want to call it, that people believed throughout history. And, you know, like I said, Christianity did a lot for us here, like our ancestors and stuff, and why I think that we're so programmed the way we are. Anyway, okay, I'm going to keep going. So Yule, well, let's first talk about runes, right? Okay, runes. Runes are why we're here. So runes are essentially the alphabet. Elder Futhark is what the runes are that I work with. There are actually many runes in many different languages. A rune essentially means secret letter. It's a letter that's a secret or a secret mystery, but they can be used alphabetically. They've been around since essentially when we can start counting time. Before that, I mean, like I said, when Christianity came, everything went away. So they can't really know. Some historians say they've been around since 500 BCE. Most people say that the records started around the birth of Christ, the 1st century. So they're not really sure. So Elder Futhark, like I said, translates to alphabet, but also has another meaning of secret mystery. So Futhark, the runes and Futhark is the same thing. Futhark is runes, runes is Futhark. Elder Futhark is the original 24 runes that were supposedly, the story is that Odin was giving these messages from the universe. Okay, so the first 24, which are the original ones, which are the ones that I work with, and most people who use them as divination tools will use the original 24. There's a younger Futhark, which they took out a few and broke it down to 16, and then that's when it got changed from a Norse Proto-Germanic tribe language to Latin, and then went away. So younger Futhark, you can find those. They're less common if you're looking to use runes as a divination tool. You will usually find the 24, and those are called the Elder Futhark. And Futhark is actually the first letters, an acronym of the first letters of the first 6 runes. It's F is like Futhark, but the rune, well, we'll talk about that when we do the runes. I can show you. It's like an F, but not really. It's like a flag. They're all super basic and easy to chip onto stones or bone. That's another amazing thing that I think, like, the runes have been around so long, like people were illiterate. Like, it's hard to like grasp the concept of the runes, I think, sometimes because we are so spoiled rotten with knowledge and things and technology, and like this is way back in barbarian day where everybody killed each other because whatever, you have a cow that they want, whatever, like it's barbaric shit that is happening when these runes are created. So they literally are the simplest things that you would be able to sketch into a piece of wood or a bone or a stone. They're not fancy. So they're very linear and straight, and no curves. So if you ever see a rune with a curve, it's probably not a Elder Futhark rune. It's could be a different language. And obviously that would be then after, when they had the means to be able to do something like that. Back in this time period, they did not. So anyway, so like I was saying, the first 6 runes are what Futhark spells, and I can go over that when we actually pull runes. Yeah. So runes originally came into fruition. This is the story, okay? Odin, who is like all father, he is Odin. He's like the master of the universe. Like, that's what I like to refer to him as. I don't know how else to explain it. He's not God. He's the master of the universe. I don't know. So anyway, he made what the Norse people consider the ultimate sacrifice, and he sacrificed himself. He hung himself on the sacred tree for 9 days and 9 nights. And at the end of the 9 days and 9 nights, these magical goddesses that live in the well of Yerd, I know this sounds insane, they granted Odin all the mysteries and all the secrets of life. And he gave those to his humankind in the form of runes. And he only bestowed the knowledge that he had onto rune masters or rune casters. So not everyone was able to know the power of the runes or essentially read the alphabet at that point in time. So there was only rune masters allowed to do this. And when I say that, there was like maybe one person every 6 tribes. Like, nobody really knew. So they were more of a magical thing. And let's remind ourselves that we're talking about barbaric times where there is no like societal rule, so to speak, just kind of like you go with the flow. But the flow, they understood the flow. These people understood like life's deep meanings because they didn't have all this nonsense to distract them from what it actually is important. And I think that's probably why I'm like super into them, partially because there is no flutter, there is no nonsense. It is just real life things that actually are lessons and knowledge and guidance that everybody should be privy to, but not everybody is. So anyway, back to runes. And they were used by the one person or the 2 people that were allowed to know what they meant in like a specific area, as not only divination tools but also like ways to communicate. And each rune has like a specific sound. So if your name, let's use Freya because I know her name, and her name's Freya. So Freya, right, sounds much like the first letter, the first rune, which is Frehu. So obviously she's going to start with an F. So they had much more than like A, B, C, D. It was more like, not only did the rune have a letter sound, it had a letter meaning, and then a deeper meaning, like a deeper mystical meaning behind whatever it was that shape or represented, so to speak. So yeah, that's a lot, huh? Let's see. so I talked a lot about how Christianity labeled a lot of like the rune work as paganism, and a lot of the reason that they did that is because of the deeper meaning stuff, not so much about the alphabet thing, although they obviously at that point Latin was pretty common in Southern Europe, and Northern Europe is where a lot of the beliefs were still being used, runes were still being used regularly, and sometimes not even for divination anymore, but more just as that was how they knew how to communicate with each other as a written form. So, but yeah, Christianity kind of made that all go away. Okay, so I did also want to talk a little bit about the Vikings and the Norse people in general, and taking you guys back to the whole barbaric thing. And I know a lot of the rituals that are common to hear about, right? Like, so you hear about like Odin and you're like, holy shit, Kate, do you sacrifice goats in your backyard? No, I promise you I do not. So I do no sacrificing of animals at all whatsoever, but I do like natural materials that I have acquired in a very legal, regular way. But I do like bones and skulls and that, and I do use that when I'm using the runes sometimes because it calls in different entities. Obviously, in this day and time, we can't go around sacrificing people and things, and that's not even what they did. Like Odin, the All-Father in Norse mythology and all of this stuff, the founder of the runes, he, of course, in that time, he was the master of the universe. Can you imagine how eccentric this guy was? How much he wanted everything like to the max. You had to be like, oh my God, or like it was unacceptable. So of course, to honor him, people are gonna bring him a fucking elephant. I don't know what they did, but it was insane, right? Like he was expecting all of these things and they thought that they were honoring him by this. But in all reality, no, the Norsemen and this mythology that I like to play with is not at all like evil or pagan or whatever. They were very much in love and light. The runes are very much a powerful guidance. They're very much it's like it's help from the cosmos, so it's like you can do oracle cards, right? And oracle cards usually are written by an author who have a very direct message for you, where a rune has like this tiny meaning, like, oh yeah, you got an F, and then oh it's this fu you, oh it's fu you, what is fu you? Oh, it's this thing that points up, so where is it pointing to? Oh, it's like the gods or whatever. So like, what God are we pointing to, and what does that mean, and where does that go, and what does that God stand for? It goes on and on and on. We won't go that far when I pull runes for you, I promise. I will tell you what rune it is and what it means like today in modern time, and we'll leave it there. You can go wherever you want with it. So why are we doing runes? Okay, the other thing that I wanted to say, which I think is rad and like one of my favorite things to say to people, why do you use runes? Well, the phrase like it's not written in stone. Guess what? It's written in stone. It's for real. Okay, so why are we doing this now? So we talked about Odin. Odin found the runes. So let's talk about Christmas. Let's talk about winter solstice. Winter solstice, for those of you who don't know, is the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere of Earth. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you flip it with summer solstice. But so I live in the northern hemisphere, so winter solstice is the shortest day of the year. Obviously, the Norse people lived in the northern hemisphere, and that was incredibly short amount of daylight. So Yule starts on the shortest day of the year, which is why it starts on winter solstice. So I think I got that part out of the way. If you have questions, ask later so I can just keep going. So shortest day of the year. So Yule starts on winter solstice, which this year is January 21st, and it goes for 12 days, so it ends on January 2nd. Isn't that fun that Yule is 12 days, Yuletide blessings, Christmas, 12 days of Christmas. There's lots of coincidences. I'll go over them. So Yule starts then. Yule is essentially a Scandinavian tradition, like throughout different, you don't just necessarily have to like, practice Norse stuff or Albanian stuff. Traditionally, this is what it is. So, Yule is a time to party. I don't know how they literally partied for 12 days. They had parties, they had feasts, they drank, they gave each other gifts, but you have to consider what gifts were at that period of time. So like this year I'm actually having a Yuletide party on Saturday for Anthony. And like, I was like, well, how am I going to do this with like gifts or whatever? I freaking handmade everything out of like natural shit I found outside. I think that's pretty cool. But I tried to stay in theme. So anyway, like different kinds of things. It was just a party for 12 days straight where they just celebrated the ending of so the winter solstice is the shortest day of the year. So every day gets shorter until winter solstice, and then winter solstice happens, and then every day gets longer. Okay. So like for 12 days, they celebrated the sun, the rebirth of the sun. They celebrated the rebirth of light. They celebrated like Mother Earth coming back into, springtime. They celebrated all of the blessings that they had received from Mother Earth the previous year. So it was essentially like the change of the seasons. They're celebrating like the new oncoming sun, because obviously in Scandinavia, winter up there, you get like an hour of daylight, if that, a day. So that's terrible. So yeah, they were celebrating like the promise of new light, Mother Earth's triumph, like all of these like beautiful, wonderful things. And then, they're barbarians, so they just drink and eat. And that's what they do. So it was a merry feasting time. And part of their celebration was Odin. Okay, was Odin. So Odin is very similar to Santa Claus, and Christianity actually stole this one. So I don't even know what Santa Claus is. Okay. Saint Nick, I get it. Okay. But so Odin had a 8-legged horse named, I'm gonna screw it up, Sleipnir. It's Sleipnir. I think that's right. Sleipnir. Yeah. Okay. So an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir, and he flew out during Yule on his 8-legged horse. He was in a sleigh behind his 8-legged horse, and he gave all these gifts. Obviously the gifts are mead, which is beer, alcohol, food, pigs, his slaughtered animals from all of his whatever he gave. I don't know. He gave it all to all the people, in his thing. And he, part of the thing is that Odin is the one that had the magical elves and dwarves to make all of the gifts. And one of the gifts that the magical elves and dwarves made was Thor's hammer. That's cool, right? So yeah, so Santa, when Christianity came around, obviously you can no longer honor this guy that flew around the skies on an 8-legged horse. Now we gotta do, Santa with 8 reindeer, So there's a lot of stuff that's similar between that, and it's not that I don't think Christianity stole it. They were really on a mission to everybody, everybody had to think the same way, whatever, it is what it is. I'm over it. I don't, it's like, I'm not 100% like a crazy person. I'm not sacrificing animals, but I'm also not going to church and eating a piece of stale bread and drinking a little grape juice. I'm not going to do that either. Which, by the way, if you think about that, how sacrificial and weird is that? Hey, come and eat some flesh and drink some blood. That sounds fun. But anyway, so that's kind of my spiel, guys. I hope that I don't know, do you have questions? Anybody?
I do.
Okay, Barney.
You can please don't laugh at me, but those earrings with the axes, they remind me of cutting cords. I've been looking at
I
them since you
know.
went on there, and I'm like, I wonder if she cuts cords with those things.
No, these are actually my Viking earrings. I got these from one of my friends who makes Viking jewelry or whatever.
I
So
love them. I
thank
love
you.
them. That's
That
cool.
makes me laugh, Bernie, because now every time we cut cords, I'm gonna picture Kate doing them with her Viking axe.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It works. What can I say?
Yeah. I have a question. What is in ruins the difference between, like, I've seen them before where they're just a flat stone with a ruin symbol on it, and then the ones that you just showed us with all the sides. And while you've been talking, I've been looking stuff up online because this is really interesting to me, and I feel very drawn to this.
I
And I have
your
that,
hat
you know,
the
like
other day.
Viking thing.
The
So
hat that you wore the other day, I was like, oh,
I know, I was like, what is my inner, but you know, my father loved Vikings, and he and when I die, my children know that they're to steal my body, put me in a boat with herbs, and light me on fire.
oh, dude, that's how I'm sending Anthony off. Yeah, that's how I'm.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
that.
It's a joke. They're like, we're going to be on television for stealing.
Yeah, no, totally. We have a cabin in northern Minnesota, my whole family. I mean, I've kept on to his ashes because I just wasn't ready. I probably will do it this summer. Well, you know, COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I need to undo my video.
Yeah, so I told my family, like, I'm literally putting his ashes in like something and sending it out in the middle of the lake on fire. Like, that's gonna be so awesome. And my mom's like, we have 80-year-old neighbors. I'm like, I don't fucking care. How cool is that?
I don't, it doesn't.
No, so to answer your question though,
yeah,
runes, they can be on anything. They literally, and now, you know, nowadays, because everything is modernized, and you know, of course, you go about this, whatever you're drawn to or whatever. Do you guys see how red my ears are right now? Holy hell. I feel like I'm an elf. Look at that.
It's all right, man. You're doing good. You can tell you're talking about something that's passionate. That you're passionate about.
I am. Thank you. So so my runes, yes, mine are on actually a crystal lapis lazuli. That's what I call it. It's not really called that.
So it doesn't really I mean, they would make
it doesn't
on whatever was
matter.
available, if it was stone or wood or bone.
No. I mean, I would suggest to stay true to it, but that's me because I'm like obviously super into it. That it's a natural material because that was the origination.
Yeah,
obviously.
I like that. I don't even like to wear clothes that aren't natural. It bothers. I don't like it. It's got to be cotton or linen or wool. It just me. So I like cotton or linen.
Yeah. So I would suggest a natural material, but you literally can get them pretty much at any divination store. I mean, sometimes they're a little hard to find. They might only have like one bay or whatever, but I see them often on like bones or pieces of wood where it's like burnt in. I've seen actually my brother's making some that are wood, and then he carved out the runes on it, and then he's filling that with resin. You know, that glows in the dark.
We'll see. I'm just gonna kind of see what happens. And you know, but it's funny because I feel drawn to this. I do not feel drawn to tarot cards at all.
I'm not. I
mean, it's not that I dislike them. I'm just not drawn to them at all. But this, because I think because of my ancestry also.
Are you Norwegian or Scandinavian?
No, my dad, Kinsler is my maiden name. So Germanic tribes from Switzerland, but before when that was still part of Germany, is on my father's side. And also there was just always the thing of my dad was Beowulf was a big thing, like between my dad and my brother. You know, I'm a girl, so I had to beg for certain things.
Yeah.
You know, there's the male, whatever, but I just do. But also, I mean, like I love Jesus, but I am incredibly drawn to pagan things. But, you know, like I think it's sad that the truth gets covered up out of fear. You know, I mean, Jesus does not give a fuck if somebody uses, he did not. It's like, dude, I'm saying the same message that these people are saying. It's fear that people is sad because truths get lost, you know.
They get hushed and they get changed.
Yeah, it's sad,
you know?
to me.
Yeah, it is, you know, but you know, good for you for having an open mind, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
all
I'm
we
like
can
you,
do
I'm a
is
speaker.
learn and teach.
Yeah.
Learn and teach, right? That's all you can do is learn and teach. So.
All right, so it doesn't matter. Just sit. All right, cool. I was just
what calls to you. You gotta go with what calls to you. You know,
Okay.
I've never worked with tarot cards ever. I do have a lot of decks of oracle cards,
Yeah.
Which is also a really great.
Yeah.
But like I said, to me, those are like very direct messages. You know, like you get, this is your message, and it applies to however you apply it in your life, and you move forward with it. Where the rune, sometimes it keeps coming.
Yeah. I did it. Someone gave me some after Zeke left body, and I they some tarot cards, and I just and someone had given that, you know, they were given to me the way they're supposed to be, but it just did not feel right. So my daughter started talking about tarot cards and bought her own, but then she said, then I learned, Mom, you're not supposed to really buy yours. So I gave her what had been given to me, and that seemed wrong. But she's very, you know, she's learning about that. So anyway, thank you for I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole. I can tell I gotta go.
Yeah, like I said, I jumped in, you know, but I learned a lot, and it helps me in my healing, you know. It just, the magnitude of the lessons and guidance is astounding to me. So I just went with that.
Yeah. And my father was a Marine for 22 years. So until Valhalla is a major Marine thing, you know, like they all say that, until Valhalla, you know.
So I said that one of my nicknames was a Valkyrie. So my Marine friend gave me that nickname.
I used to buy herbs from a company called, and I thought it was Valkyrie, but obviously it's not.
I mean,
Valkyrie,
you know what?
botanicals.
Valkyrie is how I say it, but I pronounce all of these things in a different. So I listen to this one thing that like keeps replaying to get all these sounds right. And there's so many different ones. I picked just like the Norse Proto-Germanic language.
Yeah.
There's so many different. So you could have heard it that way, and it could be correct that way as well.
All right, but okay. Thank you, Kate. It's interesting. This is cool. Cool.
I have Marines too. Rodney was a Marine, and then I'm going to see his middle son, my middle grandson, who goes to boot camp on the 19th, and my other grandson, his oldest son, is in California already, in San Diego. So
my dad, my brother, my nephew just went to Quantico. He's guarding Afghan refugees, and a really good friend of Zeke's has probably finished his first year. You know, so it's a big part of our life, you know. It's
once a Marine, always a Marine. Rodney was he worked in Quantico. He was crew chief for the presidential helicopter squadron. He flew around the world with Clinton. So that was really cool.
Yeah, we lived there when I was a kid, so it's cool that my nephew's there.
Yeah, he went to Okinawa before. Thank God he never got, had to go to war. I would have, that would have been horrible. But anyways, are these rooms, let me see if you can see them. This box of these.
I can't see them. No, I can't see it clearly. Wait. Okay. I think you have the Yggdrasil.
There's 7.
Are they all the same image?
Dang it, yeah, they're like a dang tree. What's that supposed to do?
Yeah, that's Yggdrasil. Those aren't runes. Those are chakras. But that is essentially the tree of all cosmic life.
Oh, now that I looked at them, I was like, I thought they were what you're talking about, but nope.
No, well, it's correlated. It's the tree that Odin sacrificed himself on. There you
Is
go.
that why when they would sacrifice people, they would hang them upside down? Is that why?
When they would sacrifice what?
I'm serious. When they would sacrifice people, is that why they hung them upside down? Because
I think they sacrificed people in all different kinds of ways.
I mean, that's creepy, but that all cultures did that. I don't like it, but
I mean, when I say barbaric, I mean there were no people that were not barbaric.
Right.
Exactly. That's just what it was.
Yeah, no, I need to go down the rabbit hole because I'll drive you nuts asking questions.
You know what you should do, Caroline, if you're really that interested, watch the series, The Vikings.
I did until they sacrificed the people, and that just it just messed me up. I was like, I can't. No. Love Vikings.
That's the thing, though. You say that they sacrificed the people, but actually, every person
I know it was like an honor to do.
Yes, it was a choice. They chose it. It wasn't a forced thing.
Yeah,
it chose it.
Uber sensitive and super empath, and it was just.
Yeah,
I mean, I might could watch it now and be all right with it, but I remember when I stopped watching that series after the first year because of the sacrifice. Because it was too much. It was too much.
Yeah, I can understand that.
It was too much.
I would be denying part of myself if I did not come to realization that actually happened.
Yeah, no, it did happen. I mean, in all cultures, I'm pretty sure in all cultures.
Yeah, there were different. I mean, there's different variations of all kinds of. I mean, I don't know if all of you guys know, but I come with a package of mixed people in my household. We're a fun soup. So I have also looked into a lot of African studies and tribal stuff and really cool stuff. I mean, not obviously as into as the Norse stuff because that's me, but my husband is actually his ancestry is from Nigeria. And that comes with a lot of like really cool spiritual stuff. And a lot of, again, all labeled paganism in the US, all labeled in Western culture, it's all labeled paganism, witch stuff, whatever. But a lot of it is all in love and light. And like it's so like shushed upon, like, yes, they're sacrificing animals, but not because they're demonic, because like that's what they think that their God is asking for.
Right.
Like they're trying to honor something.
The church's desire for power. It's not about spirituality and the people, it's a power thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't. I mean, it's like why they didn't want the people to have the Bible, or it's the same concept, though. You know what I mean? We got to keep we don't want the people to have knowledge. If people have knowledge, then they're powerful, and they're not going to, whatever. But yeah, I need to stop talking because I will not shut up, y'all.
Right, which is why they probably buried the runes so heavily. Christianity buried the runes so heavily because they were that is their myth, that they carry the secret of the cosmos.
Yeah, like the Gnostics and like did y'all know that that Israelites had a woman god too, that was a part of the Judaic tradition, there was a goddess. And they got rid of her. I didn't even know that until like a year ago. I was like,
it's fascinating, isn't it? It's totally fascinating. You could go down a rabbit hole with literally every mythology and every religion, and you could go on that forever and ever. You gotta go with what flows for you. Yeah. This flowed for me. Yeah. Easy.
You can tell by the way you talk about it that it does. And besides that, you look like a Viking anyway,
I do. You should have seen my grandpa. He like had white hair and white skin.
Did
he like glowed in the dark.
Yeah. Right. My son, he glowed in the dark.
Oh yeah.
He was the whitest. Oh my God, he was so white. My black friend, they would laugh at him how white he was.
Yeah.
I was like, stop laughing. And she's like, that's the whitest baby I ever saw in my life, Caroline. I'm like,
Yeah. Good stuff. Does anybody else have questions? No? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yes, I do. What are the lottery numbers?
Oh, yeah. We are not
good luck
privy
with
to
that
all
one,
the
Debbie.
info. We are not privy to all the info. You know, my trick to that is I play the same numbers all the time. If they hit, it's meant to be. If they don't, whatever.
You hear
Whatever.
people that like dream of the winning number and shit, and it's like, really?
Yeah, no,
Seriously?
I don't do that. No, I'm a firm believer that there are some things that we are just not supposed to know. It is not for our highest good.
Oh, that's for sure. You know, because I had this thing going with my guides, and it was touch my head if it's a yes, and no, it's nothing, right? I thought I had a good thing going. Well, I tried it as a shortcut practicing mediumship. That shit did not go. It was like, you go direct, we're not helping you, screw that. So then I was kind of testing them, and they really don't like that. And I was like, just threw out there, does my dog hate me? Yep. I was like, okay, all right. Now I don't listen. I know. And Nikki was like, oh no, that was, you know, some strange spirit. And I said, I'm zipped up in a bubble of white protective light, you know, every day, all day.
Yep.
But
that's
anyways,
the way we got
I
to
just
be.
wanted to say.
That's the way we got to be. Yeah, no,
Yep.
I don't know the lottery ticket numbers, Debbie. And if I
Damn
did,
it.
I wouldn't tell you. I would just keep it to myself.
I know. Are
You're
you
welcome.
gonna do it for us?
I am, yeah, next Monday. And that's actually on the 21st on winter solstice. So it'll be the start of my Yule celebrating.
Oh,
I
good.
celebrate Yule and Christmas. All that means is like I get to get drunk for 12 days and no one can judge me.
Good for you.
Now they got those chocolate Yule log dessert thingies. You ever have them?
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
They don't have cheese logs.
Yeah, totally. All Yule log is like a big stick that you burn for 12 days, and then it's so big that you get to keep part of it for the next year. That's it.
Oh.
It's very like simple, symbolic, you know, there's no sacrificing or anything. It's very simple and symbolic. And that's what I dig about it, you know. All the stuff is simple and natural and nature, and I like that a lot.
You're
I
like
like
Kathy is about tarot cards, but do you just have one set, or do you have
of
many
runes?
sets? Uh-huh.
No, I have a deck. I have a deck of runes, but that also those are oracle cards, so there's 44, so there's different Norse guidance on there as well. I have my hippie, these are the ones that I will use for you guys, because these are the coolest ones. And then I have another pair that I ordered from my guy that made my earrings, which I really like them, but you know, when you have something that works, why fix it?
Yep.
Oh.
So,
all right, I can't wait. Thank you so much. That is
You're
interesting.
welcome.
Thank you, Kate.
ladies. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Have a good night.
Surprised.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks a lot, Kate. We'll see you
You're
soon.
welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
See y'all at the Ugly Sweater Party Wednesday.
Oh yeah. I just made my bling for that.
Yay, I gotta come up with a sweater. I don't own an ugly sweater.
You gotta
Not
make
s-
it, Kathy.
not
Get a
sweater
groove on
weather.
and some ugly
We'll
shit
see.
and start going. All right, goodbye.
Thank you.
Guys,
Bye.
bye guys.